don't want that to become something that we're always doing, but it was effective on Saturday. It did the job.
If we'd done that last season more often than not, we would have been in and around the playoffs or even gone further than that.
At the end of the day, while none of us are 100% comfortable with Christo still being at the helm, and that has been documented, we've just got to roll with it. And at the end of the day, if the man recognises what needs to be changed and adapts it accordingly, and so far so good, if he goes on to deliver on that promise, then that shows growth.
Yeah,
it is.
It's about how the team is affected by this, How do you play 11 players so that we can win the game? Don't keep relying on the same people just because they've done something good for you in the past. Yeah, I think we need good finishing from August, don't we? So it's not a careless Priska.
Correct. Very good.
Hey,
that's
I'm
fantastic.
here all
week.
Yeah, very good.
It just come to me actually, to be fair. Yeah, there is life in the old twat, really.
Welcome back, fellow Blues fans, to the Free Blue Boys podcast. Thank you to all our viewers and listeners for joining us again. But of course, as always, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. Like if you enjoyed today's video and hit the bell notification button so you never miss a word from the Free Blue Boys podcast. And while you're at it, why not drop us a follow on any one of our social media platforms, links to which are on the screen for you now and down in the description below. Gentlemen, first two league fixtures out of the way with. Competitive fixtures, should I say. The first league fixture. Picked up a point, something which I think going into it we would have been happy with, and we came away a little bit disappointed, arguably, that we didn't get the win. But otherwise, how are we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was definitely a result that was appreciated in hindsight from the results
Indeed.
last season. Obviously, you guys know, we talked about it in the post-match video. If you haven't checked that out, please do. Obviously, last season we picked up the third amount of lowest points in the whole league table for away game. So it was a good point, but you're definitely right, Dan. It was a game that really, if any team was going to win, it was going to be us. We just lacked that little edge in front of goal, or the half chances that we had, and the amount of crosses we absolutely bombarded the shit out of their box most of the game, particularly second half. So I would have loved to have pinched it, but you two were correct in your predictions for the result. I did actually say 2-1 to the Blades, but yeah, it was a point earned, and it's just good that you have that first game of the season where you don't lose, and you go into the home game against Bristol City at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, for which that will follow on the Saturday.
Indeed.
Suitable delay there in between St Andrews and Knighthead Park.
It'll probably get even longer.
Yeah, I think it will, won't it? As indeed your trousers have.
They have, that's right. Yeah, so
yeah,
the cock's been put away.
Yeah,
and the cock at left back stays on the pitch.
He does indeed. Yeah. As we like to call Alex Cochrane. Yeah,
we do.
But,
it is.
So watch out here for the weeks upcoming where me and Dan will eventually have to go to our long trousers.
It's going to be sort of a gradual introduction of the trousers.
Yeah.
So we're not quite there yet.
I thought you were going to say you're going to go back the other way and go, right, this week we're on our pants this time.
That would be very worrying.
It's going to regress as the months get colder. Actually,
I think it'll be a problem. Although apparently Saturday, it's going to be like when we get there. God knows what time.
It's going to be less than 10 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm thinking, what the fuck?
I'm going to be fucking hats and scarves at this rate.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? But anyway, back to away from trousers and pants.
Yeah.
Talk about the game. I echo your thoughts really. Some of the things that have been fed back from other sources. Interesting to hear CD talk about the Paik conundrum or the Paik quandary. In as much as we were all the same, we said, why is he playing him in a 10? And the reality is, according to CD anyway, is that he's not playing as a 10, he's effectively playing as an 8. And it brings up that vision that we're going to be difficult to beat away from home, at least that's the intention. Play a 4-3-3, swamp the midfield when the opposition have got the ball, and just kind of play on the break a little bit when we can. Other than that, no fucking them out at the back, launch the long ball. I don't want that to become something that we're always doing, but it was effective on Saturday. It did the job, and we need to pick up second balls more. But the fact that you've got 2 8s or 2 6s and 8 playing in that 3-man midfield away from home gives you a much better chance to be able to retrieve the ball, which is good.
Yeah, I think if you can bolster your options, it's obviously Max Bird had his debut, so it's good to see him get his minutes in. But those little positions, like in that 10, or an 8, like you say there, Dad, depending on whether we're home or away, and obviously the left wing position as well, and I think we need another CM. But if you can bolster those positions, particularly going forward away where it's maybe a bit tight, you need to nick a goal, then if we can bring those on later in the game when teams are tired, and you bring on a winger that's pacey, direct, like Ibrahim Osman for instance, then you can take it to teams and get points away, and that's going to be absolutely vital to us this season. If we'd done that last season more often than not, we would have been in and around the playoffs or even gone further than that.
it goes to show very much what you were saying there, Joe. It's critical to how your season turns out. Ultimately, it's the difference between getting in the playoffs and not, and some teams even getting automatic promotion and not. In many cases, I feel as though if that's going to be anything to go off, and the base and the springboard in which creates and gets better results for us going away from home, then it is to be taken as a positive. And coincidentally, when you were looking at a lot of the comments, and thank you all to those who comment on our post-match upload from the away fixture at Sheffield United, the consensus was generally with us in our post-match analysis, in that we were pleased with the result, we were pleased with the way in which we played. Felt a little hard done by that, maybe we hadn't taken the win, but we take the point. It's a clean sheet away from home, a point on the board in which, as you say, we were the third worst away team last season in the Championship. So it's as good a start as any. There was a few there that were very sort of critical of Chris Davis, same old. Some were very almost quite visceral as well in their criticism of Chris Davis and the man himself at times as well, which I felt was a little bit harsh maybe. But at the end of the day, while none of us are 100% comfortable with Chris Davis still being at the helm, and that has been documented not only at the beginning of this season, heading in to the new season, as we've commented in previous podcasts, but also going into the end of last season and prior to that, we've just got to roll with it. And at the end of the day, if the man recognises what needs to be changed and adapts it accordingly, and so far so good, leading into this season, Davis has talked about his versatility and the need to change approach and the way in which we create goals and score goals. So if he goes on to deliver on that promise, then that shows growth.
Yeah, that's the critical thing, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
He's used a phrase, horses for courses, after the weekend's game, actually. And we all know what that means. It's kind of, see what you're up against and adapt accordingly. Now, I hope it's not an empty gesture, because he did say something similar to that when he first came in.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He did.
And then he wanted to be wedded to a certain style of play, which the club wanted. And obviously we made our kind of views on that known, saying we thought it was a top-down thing. He was, pushed towards it, really.
Yeah.
Now maybe there's a bit of a more realistic approach to things. The club have got less noise around them in terms of what our promotion ambitions are. We're being a bit more kind of grounded in stuff. Maybe they're saying, do you know what? It doesn't matter how it fucking gets done. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you boot the ball in the air to a 6'4" striker and you get a lot of headed goals in set pieces this season. Does it matter?
Yeah.
They just want the end result, don't they? At the end of the day.
Well, exactly that. I mean, they came in here with a vision and this no fear football, and you guys remember that when Rooney was here, and that was one of the poorest decisions they've made since they've took over the club. But the pragmatism is very, very important in this league, and really any, and scoring goals from set pieces and stopping them going in. If you can do that, I mean, fuck me, look at the Premier League champions last season. How many goals and what kind of team are they like to go and do that? You have to do that in this league, and because we didn't do that last season, it cost us. And it is positive signs towards it. You both mentioned it there. A lot of you guys commenting on the post-match saw that little, I guess, tweak in a way, but the fact that we had that first game away and the pressure was on, and we went a little bit more direct, not fucking about with 50 passes before we trying to get into the 18-yard. It was just in the middle, out to the wing, straight in with the cross early, one touch out your feet. You have to do that. You've got a big man like Priskin there, and you've got Solis running in late, you've got Vincente on the opposite wing. However it looks, that's how you can hurt teams. Now, when we play at home, it's I said this on the post-match, is don't fix what's not broke. And at home, we were very strong last season. We have been the last, 2 seasons, basically.
Indeed.
So we can play our style at home, but even at home, we have to remain physical, because teams will come to us this season, know how difficult it is at St Andrews. I won't say it. So
it's got to be a long delay this time.
Yeah. I'll say it right at the end. But yeah, they know how tough it is, and we have to play our way and be consistent there.
We do, and there's more of an onus on us to be consistent at home, because you've got the entire home support behind you. There's an expectation. We know how strong we are at home, albeit a few handful of poor performances last season, albeit sendings off here and there. Most notably against Hull City in the 3-2 loss at home. But the expectation is there, and like you say, Joe, we've got to be physical at home as well. We can't be dropping off from this and switch more to sort of more passive way of playing, edging towards more tiki-taka, like you say. We've got to be in the face of the opposition. We've got to take control of the game, and that's on a physical level as well as on a tactical level as well, being able to move the ball quickly forward, spraying it out wide, attacking with the wingers, being more direct, getting balls, crosses into the box for the big men. It's got to be a combination, and it's what Davis talked about, like you say, Dad, there, rightly so. It's horses for courses. It's got to be mixed up in a way in which you've got to adapt to the nature of the opposition that you're playing against on the day. And I'm hoping that will obviously factor into Chris Davis' preparation, because that's a strong point for him, being prepared, looking in detail at what the opposition do well and what they don't, and exploiting that. And for a man, like I said last season, who's kind of priority in the way in which he goes about his football and managing his team is the analytical part of his game. He really needs to employ that this season if that's going to be the case, because now we've got a wider platform in which to work with in terms of the different kinds of players that we've got and how versatile we are in terms of how our approach can be. But like you say, rightly so there, Joe, talking about Arsenal, I think they had one of the highest conversion rates in the Premier League last season for teams converting from set pieces.
Yeah.
It's an ugly side of football that a lot of teams don't like to do because they like the tiki-taka, particularly in the Premier League and European leagues more so as well. But it got them the title. Now, there's a golfing class between us and Arsenal. I take the point on that. But it shows that it works. And it was the same for the teams that got promoted out of the Championship. You've just got to be able to mix it up when required. It doesn't mean that you have to be restrictive in the way in which you want to go play and change your whole philosophy. It just means you've got to adapt it when required, really.
I think what it is as well is that with the tiki-taka, and obviously it's been going on for years, and just being almost what the basics is in football, which is to be physical, win second balls, the bouncing balls, in the box, headers. I know it sounds a bit strange, but it almost requires less coaching and tactical nuance. You know what I mean? You can get big fucking whoever in 6'5" in the box years ago, get him in there and just put it in the box, and he's probably going to get his head to it, and it will probably go towards goal. And you do that 9 times out of 10, one of them's going to be on target, it might go in. With tiki-taka, it requires a lot more in here to think about your awareness on the pitch, the awareness of other players, the opposition, and how you move up the pitch that way. It takes a lot more coaching to actually have players and a team, let alone a player, actually play that style and be effective at it. But just going long and putting balls into the box can be very, very effective. And obviously, going away it almost feels a bit more vital because, as you allude to there, Dan, the home team's expected to be on top and have the ball. But away, I really don't mind us doing it. And the club mentioned earlier, I think it might have been like an open letter type thing from Jeremy Dale about the calendar year. Or rather from the beginning of last season to the beginning of this season, in that Blues actually exceeded their targets for being the highest revenue grossing team other than the parachute payment teams, and actually, exceeding that, the goals that they had set for that is what's enabled us to actually look at what we need for this season and put the money where we need it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the things that I've read in the last 24 hours, really, again, I think it's a Chris Davies comment via the Evening Mail, which plays into what you two guys have just been saying there about kind of the change in style. Phil Neumann obviously has come on really well in the last kind of few months, hasn't he? He's proven his worth. But the comment Davies was making is that that Phil Neumann isn't a ball player, and he was saying it in the nicest kind of way. And we criticised him, didn't we, at times last season, because he played in that system where he was expected to do that. Now we're playing like this, and he's been focused on the things that he's good at, the things that kind of are his bread and butter, as it were.
I'd agree.
To quote a certain Ipswich forward, but that's what he does every week, isn't it? And he does it well. The passing thing, I think, was playing on him. I think it was a problem.
I think it was affected his game overall.
I think it was, and it's like what they've said to themselves is, what, if we want to carry on playing this tiki-taka way, we're going to need something different. And that was what also brought in the left-sided centre-half issue, because to try and play like in the channels, you need a left-footer, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of simplified our approach, and that seems to, it says like I'm doing the players down intellectually here, but I'm not. It's made it an easier script for them to play. I know you mean,
it kind of calms them down. You get the ball at your feet, knowing you've got to play it on the floor.
Yeah.
When you've got teams pressing you as well, it makes you nervous. But if there's a game plan of right, I'm here, I'm looking to get it out there, so how do I do that? If you can put it back to your fullback and he pings it up, something like that, it makes it really basic rather than just keeping possession for possession's sake.
It does.
I just wanted to say, sorry Dan, before you get going on that, I just wanted to say as well on basics, well done to Boz. We called him man of the match at the weekend, but one little stat that came out, which I thought was really interesting, and this is about kind of just doing the things, winning the right to play football, is he had 16 recoveries of the ball for Blues on Saturday, at least 5 clear of anybody else in the division.
Yeah.
That's just about basics like tackling, and there was a great slide tackle that Blues put on a reel today.
I
saw that,
and that's what we're talking about. Those kind of things get overlooked at times, but they're important. They really are.
Important.
They are, and I think going back to what you were saying there, Joe, just before Dad mentioned Boss, obviously significant contribution on Saturday, and deservedly so, man of the match, is that this system, particularly going away from home, allows players to be more individuals to be more themselves, to bring more of their personality, because they can relax more. They aren't defined and restricted so much to a particular way of passing, playing, where passing becomes the greater emphasis and it becomes tiki-taka. They can mix it up, they can change it up, they can change their approach. They've got more freedom in way in which they can bring the ball forward. We can play over the press, we don't have to constantly play through it. And for people like Neumann, I think it's a blessing in disguise, and I think it's allowing him to shine through this season. But it's great that you've got the backup of the lots of people like Dale Fry, people who are more comfortable with the ball at their feet. So if you do need to change it, you can move Neumann over, or you can bring him off and put Dale Fry in his place. It's that going back to that versatility that Davis had talked about, and the way in which we approach games, create goals and score goals. That's what it needs to be about this season.
I agree, absolutely, and I think that's what creates a successful side in this league, is your ability to adapt to your opponents. And we didn't do that at all last season.
It's too easy to play against. How many times were we exploited last season because of it?
It is. I mean, you guys know, any long-time viewers, in the post-match of last season, you could just copy and paste from the last post-match and put it into the next one, because we did nothing, and all of us, and you guys included, were just screaming for Blues to change. And again, it's the two things to make a successful team in this division: is your ability to adapt the style on a game-by-game basis and your depth. If you've got better depth, as you get into those colder months, you'll find that when you've got two full-backs out and you've got one of your most important centre mids out, or a striker that's scoring your goals, you've got to be able to replace those. And the January transfer window obviously helps for that. But the fact that we are still building the squad with, 2.5 weeks to go of the transfer window, something like that, not even that actually, will be really important. Obviously, away from home, it's one thing, but home, again, as I've alluded to before, and continue the way we're doing, but it will be a challenge against the Robins only on Saturday.
How's it going, fellow Blues fans? Hope you're enjoying the channel so far and liking today's video. I wanted to take a minute of your time to talk about our sponsor, Bangla Lounge Indian Cuisine. For these three Blue Boys, Bangla Lounge has been the go-to choice to enjoy the very finest in Indian cuisine for over a decade now. Made with the freshest ingredients using authentic recipes, Bangla Lounge produces some of the best Indian cuisine that I've ever tasted. And if you enjoy takeaway at the end of the week, orders for collection and delivery with 15% discount, ordering direct through the website. If you enjoy a sit-down meal, you can enjoy this a 2-for-1 offer running up for Sunday to Thursday every week on main courses. Or if you're celebrating a special occasion, such as a birthday, Bangla Lounge offers a buffet restaurant every Sunday running from 5:30pm to 10pm. So if you like a tasty curry or a sizzling tandoori, get yourself down to Bangla Lounge Halesowen. Links in the description below of our video. And if you like to fine dine after a win in the B9. Thanks very much. Now back to the podcast. It will be. Robins, actually, coincidentally with the last team we played at home last season.
It was, yeah.
So that was a bit interesting, really. It feels a little bit like deja vu, or it certainly will come Saturday.
A bit fixed, actually, weirdly.
It is a little bit weird, isn't it? You seem to get a decent fixture when you first get promoted to the division, or when you drop back down out of the Premier League, and then you just sort of get the scraps after that. It's like, no, they can just play them, it's okay. Like what would argue, some people would think as a sort of a mid-table match.
Yeah, I would say it is at this
remains
point.
To be seen. We're at the very early part of the season. Only 2 games in, as all Saturday will come. But it's going to be a test, like you say, Joe. I think we need to not go into the match sort of presuming that this is going to be 3 points for us. And that's where, like you say, the physicality is going to have to come in, as well as the application to and mix it up and to be versatile in our approach. Davis will prepare for all this, as will the team. Do we see any changes? Obviously, we'll get onto lineups and score predictions later on after we've sort of talked a little bit about the opposition as well. But does Davis change it up maybe, change his approach slightly, be less maybe direct, maybe place the emphasis a little bit more on possession, but it has to be meaningful possession like we've talked about. I think they lost their first game, didn't they, of the season? Robins against Millwall as well.
No, they lost to Walsall at home in the Cup first.
They did, so they've had a couple of losses now on the bounce, so that's going to be playing on their minds, so they're going to be one out of the traps at us. Probably going to mix it up more physically than probably they did back in the last season, because we were a couple of teams not really playing anything when they played at home last season, and obviously Hodgson was only sort of caretaker at the time as well, seeing it out to the end of the season as well. Obviously Blues picking up a 2-1 win on the day as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and how both teams set up, really. But there's very much kind of the emphasis on us. We need to get the 3 points at home, start strong at the helm, at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. And Bristol City will be looking to at least get away with a point, because they need to kick-start their season. They are missing a man who got awarded the red card in their last league game.
Yeah, he did second.
Adam
Randall. I was searching for the man's name in my head there, Dad, thank you. So he'll be a miss for them. They've had quite a lot of movement in terms of ins and outs, and obviously one of them, Max Bird, has departed. He's a key player for them, and he looks good from what he came on against Sheffield United as well, so he's going to be a big miss for them. But they've had a lot of movement throughout the summer so far.
Yeah, biggest signing for them was Laurent Delage from Plymouth last season. Very good season in League One, actually. I think he played for Port Vale before that, but 17 in 29 in League One. You're going to get noticed, aren't you, by a team in the Championship?
Of course you are. You're not going to stay in the same division.
And obviously, yeah, as you say there, Dan, they've played the 2 games, lost both, but it's a long season. So he, I expect, will be a danger for the fee that they pay, and it was a well-earned fee by the goals that he scored. Always going to be danger up there. And with the centre-half pairing that we've now got, you mentioned there about Phil Neumann, Dad, him and Clara next to each other, powerful centre-halves. It would be difficult for any striker in this league. I mean, they kept Bamford quiet when we played Sheffield United. Yeah. But very good signing for them. And Jed Wallace as well, obviously got a free from West Bromwich Albion, 32 years of age now, but lots of Championship experience.
So very experienced Championship player.
Yeah, I mean, how much game time he gets, I don't know, but sometimes it's about the head in the dressing room, and he's got that. And obviously Bristol City have been kind of cusp and on the edge of actually getting in the playoffs. I expect that Chris Davies will have most the same 11 that played. In fact, he might even go completely unchanged. But I'd expect that Blues will dominate the ball, look to play how we normally have at home. And again, I think it's the don't fix what's not broke, basically.
Yeah, I find it really interesting, their recruitment, actually, because, I mean, they're obviously exceptions, but Michael Scabala's come in as the new manager, and obviously he's very familiar with League One, and they seem to have recruited quite heavily from there, because Don Ballard has also been signed.
From Lincoln, yeah.
Because he came in from Leyton Orient, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also a very highly rated goalkeeper who's been talked about for quite a few seasons by quite a lot of clubs, actually, Sam Tickle, who I think played in both the games so far. I know they lost one of their keepers, so they're back to a full complement now.
Yeah.
But when you think about that, it's like they're looking at the best performers in the division below. Now, that can definitely have benefits because those players are excelling because perhaps they should be playing a level above.
Particularly if they're young players.
Yeah, like agreed. There's a high ceiling associated with them, and more potential. But by the same token, it's like it's untested.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, Don Ballard was at Spurs, I think, before he went to Leyton Orient, and it's like, why did he not go to a Championship club at some point on loan to try and get more experience? Sam Tickle has played in the Championship. Delage, don't know yet. You know, it's another one. So there's an element of risk about that. On the game itself, I think Blues are under a bit of pressure here. You know, I mean, they are every game, obviously, but we've had 2 good away results. And nobody was really expecting us to get much from either, probably. So that's good. But now, if we're taking that view, which the 3 of us are, which is, if you can pick up the odd point away from home and the odd win, you've got to win home games.
Absolutely.
So now, there isn't, you know, all the good work so far this season is up the fucking wall if we come out of Saturday and we've lost.
Absolutely.
And that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. It puts the pressure on the players, and I can actually imagine a scenario where that first 10, 15, 20 minutes, Blues are a little bit sluggish of like, we're at home now, we've got the 28,000
maybe a little bit nervous because they know the pressure's on them.
But I'm coming from the angle of like, they'll relax. Because I think
rather than be on the toes and be in the face of the opposition and matching them physically.
Because like Dad says, we picked up the point that we probably shouldn't have, and obviously got through in the second round of the Cup, where they're both away games and we've done really well there, and we've notoriously done bad last season. Now we're back at home where we're strong. They almost probably take it for granted. And no matter who you are, that will get into your head, that will get into your subconscious as a professional footballer. I don't want Blues to relax in that first run out. I want us to be on them ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be there, whether it be sort of we're playing the long ball again, mixing it up and playing some longer passes out to the wing, whether we're playing it short, slow build-up play. We need to be on it from the get-go.
Yeah.
We can't allow Bristol City to be able to settle in our half, being able to pin us back a little bit, being able to make us work for it too early, too on. And the problem is as well, it'll quiet the home crowd as well, and we don't want that. No. We know what it can be like. It can be an absolute cauldron of noise in there, and we need it to be like that on the pitch as well. We need it to be matched as well.
The good thing
be
is with
in control early on as well, and be the greater team on the day.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, with the 12:30 kick-off, it's one of those ones where you might have people who are absolutely wankered from the night before. You're going to carry on drinking through it.
So you carry on, just go through.
So and then the atmosphere will be
fine.
Up.
Then you'll be okay.
Because if they know they've got a whole day ahead of drinking, like, okay, game's on at 12:12. We'll absolutely piss on these, and then we'll. You know what I mean? The spirit's going to be up. So the Tilton will probably be absolutely roaring, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So
it could be interesting, couldn't it? Really? You know?
Yeah.
The knockout audit might turn up, and there maybe a bit of that.
Yeah.
St Andrews Knighthead Park edition.
Yeah. He'll be there videoing Jay with a certain monkey boy. So he might be there doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying to entice any violence here.
No,
not at all.
We didn't say that.
No, we never
No,
said that.
we didn't.
We'll just scrub
Nor
that.
did we incite that.
I'll take that off, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting game. I think as far as lineups are concerned, interesting what Dan was saying earlier about will there be any changes. Yeah, potentially. There might be. Perhaps we'll become a bit less defensive. I mean, we started with the midfield pivot of Solis and Iwata, didn't we? I can see Max Bird coming in.
Next to Solis?
Yeah, I think.
I'd like to see him there, actually.
And the thing there is that's crossing the red line for Chris Davis with Iwata, isn't it? Now, we've had a lot of comments about Iwata based on what we said in the post-match, saying, you know, is he up to the standard, you know, and his passes were astray on Saturday. I think the Bird's got to come in, and I think you've got to have him, and you've got to have Solis driving forward. And I think we need Jay back in the 10 and Dimmy to start. Let's start with a positive intent. Let's start with the aggression that we're going to have to show from an attacking point of view to win the game.
Yeah, I suspect that, or rather, I would probably like to see it the way you see it there, Dad, as the lineup. But I do get a feeling that he will either have Paik or remain with Iwata next to Solis, again, because of the favouritism, which I realistically it exists. It's almost a bit undeniable at this point, the times that he just shoehorns them in there, I think. And Iwata as well, particularly as you mentioned, their dad been poor. But Max Bird, I don't feel like he'll throw him straight in there. And as much as I would like to see Jay in the 10, because I think he's wasted out on wide left, I've just got a feeling that he won't actually change it. He'll tweak the way that we play because we're at home, but I don't know. I just get the feeling he'll remind me what we were doing.
I'm
before.
inclined to agree with you, actually, to be fair, Joe. I think it's a case of he'll change the approach play ever so slightly. He'll tweak that there, here and there, maybe a bit more possession-based, but meaningful possession, as we talked about, because that seems to be the way that it's going, at least maybe will at home anyway. I know it's a completely different opposition, but it seemed to be that case against FC Barcelona, so maybe we'll see a return of that as well. But as you say, Joe, Jay's wasted out on the wide left, but I can't see him bringing into the 10.
No.
I also cannot see Iwata coming out of the team as well, because like you say, Dad, it crosses the red line with Iwata, as much as our feeling and a feeling a lot of our viewers and listeners is echoed by that as well, and as much as he needs to be more of a squad player this season, and there's an argument with Paik to say that as well, although he does contribute a bit more than Iwata does. Iwata is too ineffective, whereas Max Bird, I think, brings a lot more to the table, certainly from a starting point of view
Paik
as well.
complements Solis better rather than Iwata.
I think
with
he
Solis.
does.
And Solis, I'm not saying he's undroppable, but he's got to be in there because he's been very consistent.
I think
young
Max
player.
Bird adds to that as well.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see the two of them next to each other. But in an ideal world, I think I would probably actually like to see Max Bird start in the 10 and have Dimmy wide left. I'm not saying, okay, well, where does Jay go? Well, he's not undroppable. It's got to be one of them two in the 10 for me, in my opinion. It's got to be Jay or Max Bird.
I agree with that, yeah. I think he's got to consider this carefully because, as you said, the undroppable aspect of Paik and Iwata. And by the way, Max, sorry for stealing your phrase there, mate, but we know it's your copyright, mate, so we won't go along that line. But it's a worry, isn't it? It gets a bit kind of embarrassing at times. We see those guys playing, and you think this isn't their game, or it's not rolling right. No. For him to put Jay out on the left again, I think that's a bad thing. I mean, the supply down that left-hand side, you can't keep relying on Cochrane crosses in all the time. No. So I'd be really disappointed with that. We've got to be on the front foot, in my opinion. We really have. So if he's going to copycat Sheffield United, then it's like, why? We're at home now. Let's make the most of the situation that we're comfortable in.
I think that in terms of 11, I think it'll be the same, and the only change he'll make, I think he will pull Paik out of the 10. I could be wrong, because again, the favouritism thing. And I do actually think he'll put Max Bird in there. I do. I think he'll start him there. Other than that, I think it'll be the same.
I'd like to see that as well. I think, unfortunately, we're going to see Jay out on wide left again.
I do.
The only reason why I think maybe he won't bring Dimmy into it is because Dimmy doesn't seem quite ready yet. He still seems not quite himself, and I don't think he's ever really been himself since the injury last season. No. So maybe Davis is looking to gradually introduce him, getting more minutes in the legs. I think he picked up a bit of a knock in pre-season as well, hence why he wasn't available for the FC Barcelona friendly. So, but I think it's a case of don't fix what's not broke. Essentially. I think that's how he'll go about it.
I understand people going down that route, but certainly Davis anyway. One of our commenters was saying as far as Paik and Iwata are concerned, and maybe some others as well, but them two in particular, is that could be the death of Davis's time at Blues if he carries on to the detriment of the team, because that's what it's about. It's about how the team is affected by this. You know, how do you play 11 players so that we can win the game? Don't keep relying on the same people just because they've done something good.
I mean,
in the past.
he might look at that though in the first 2 games this season and say, well, yeah, I appreciate that, Andy, but they were both in the team, and Waters played both of those games, and we've got point probably where when we weren't expected to. That's what he would probably say.
Away from home, horses for courses. That's what I would respond.
But that's my point. Like he would say, notoriously did bad away last season. We put him in there for this tweaking style now. So who's to say I'm not wrong? Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but that's probably what he would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're a different animal at home though, and I think if we are relying on our home form to get us up there and nick away points, we need to be on the front foot. Now, what happens, I don't know. If the team is positive as far as scorelines are concerned, I can see us winning it, perhaps 2-0. If he reverts to the team at Sheffield United, it'll be a draw probably.
Dan, what do you reckon?
I'd be inclined to agree with your dad in as much as it depends on selection and the way in which we approach the game and how we play. I'd like to think maybe if Max Bird's in there instead of Paik, we come away with a 2-0 win. I'd agree with your scoreline there, Dad. If not, we're possibly looking at a draw and looks more of a passive team that we're going to look like, because we're not creating as much with Iwata in the team, because he doesn't really affect the game enough, in my opinion. But I'd like to think, not to the detriment of the team, that we would continue with the undroppables, but remains to be seen.
Yeah. So, score actual prediction?
I'm still going to go with 2-0 Blues.
2-0 Blues, same as Dad, yeah. Any goal scorers for the two of you?
I think August Priska will get on the score sheet. And I think maybe, if he's in the team, we may see a debut goal from Max Bird.
Nice, Dad.
Yeah, I think we need good finishing from August, don't we? So it's not a careless Priska.
Correct. Very good.
That's
fantastic.
All week.
Yeah. How long did you practice that in front of the mirror for?
Literally quite a few days on end, actually.
Yeah. Very good.
It just come to me, actually, to be fair. Yeah, there is life in the old twat, really. You know. So, yeah, I think Priska will get one. And I think, actually, from a set piece, Clara.
Oh, that's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good shout, actually.
I do think Blues will nick it 2-1. It'll be a tight game. I'll be looking to bounce back. I expect the Blues will have a lot of the ball. We'll wear them down as we typically do. Goal scorers wise, I think I'll probably go with John Solis, and I think I'll also go with Carlos Vincente.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
very good.
Hopefully we're all correct with the result.
Indeed.
Hopefully. Be nice to get the first 3 points of the season at home at St Andrews Knighthead Park and kick off the Fortress. That is our home ground. Yep. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for your contributions. Most enjoyable as always.
Good stuff.
And to our viewers and listeners, let us know in the comment section below. Do you think Davis will change the team at all heading into the first home fixture of the season against Bristol City this Saturday, of course, the 12:30 kickoff? And also let us know your score predictions and scorers for the Blues, if any, in the comment section below as well. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, a like, hit the bell notification button so you never miss a new upload from the Free Blue Boys podcast. And while you're at it, why not consider subscribing? It is free to do so. And the same for dropping us a like on any one of our social media platforms, links to which on the screen for you now and down in the description below. But make sure you check out the post-match reaction this Saturday following the game against Bristol City at home at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. And until then, fellow Blue Noses, as always, stay true to the Royal Blue and keep right on.
Keep right on.